Philemon verses 4 and 5 says, I thank my God, making mention of thee always in my prayers, hearing of thy love and faith, which thou hast toward the Lord Jesus and toward all saints. Every October 31st, a couple of billion people, it looks like, take part in this thing called Halloween, with parties and parades and other such events. And despite what a lot of Christians are claiming, the actual origin of Halloween was rooted in the remembrance of the dead martyrs and other saints. It became known as the Eve of All Hallowed Saints Day on October 31st. The occultism that we now see is actually a usurpation of the actual origin of the event. Originally, there was no All Hallowed Saints Day. We have records going back to the 200s AD of Christians having special days to remember the martyrs. Later, the Roman Catholic religion called on their churches to observe May 13th as the Feast of Martyrs, as around 609 AD, and then it was moved to November 1st in the 9th century and given the title All Hallowed Saints Day. Now, other non-Romanist churches followed suit, and Protestants continued honoring the saints after the Reformation, and that's why you see All Saints Day services in many evangelical and Protestant churches. All Saints Day was basically a day that history lovers like me would appreciate, and lovers of biography and autobiography would relish in. Readings about the saints with short biographies, or even the writings of the saints themselves, would be read during these services. Songs like Faith of Our Fathers would be sung, and prayers of thanks, as well as prayers of dedication to live and die by the example of these great martyrs, would be sung. There'd be food and fellowship, concerts, and all kinds of other fun at these observances. But sadly, the Roman Catholic Church added prayers to the dead saints in their services. And eventually, the Eve of All Saints Day became a kind of a separate and darker prelude to the actual day, and these less biblical and in some cases anti-biblical practices increased, and the Scottish people contracted the words All Hallows Eve into the term Halloween. So then this darker night before All Hallowed Saints Day was then united with the Celtic festival of Samhain, which began at about the time of the Apostles in pre-Christian Ireland. Now, some try to claim that Samhain is the origin of Halloween, but that's just not true. However, much of what takes place in modern Halloween celebrations is rooted in Samhain and the occult, and not the Christian observance of All Saints Day. Our local church and my family, we don't decorate or take part in Halloween parties and such because it's all so dark and occultic. We do, however, give out candy to trick-or-treaters along with a gospel tract. Now, some hardcore legalists condemn us for even doing that, but when someone comes to my front door, or they walk right up to me as I sit in front of our church building, and they're willing to receive a tract that contains the gospel of Jesus Christ, or maybe even talk to me about Jesus, I'm not going to pass up that opportunity. It's the same reason I answer the door when a Jehovah's Witness, Mormon, or other stranger comes to my front door. It gives me that opportunity to possibly preach the gospel, or at least offer a gospel tract. And by the way, there's no sin in dressing up. I just don't see how Christians can dress up like the devil, ghosts, witches, Freddy Krueger, and other such things, and somehow believe they're in line with 1 Corinthians 10:31 that says, whether therefore ye eat or drink or whatsoever ye do, do all to the glory of God. Can I dress up as a biblical character, a cowboy, a sports fan, or any other non-occult figure and character, and then give out treats with tracts and do that to the glory of God? Yes, I can. You don't have to. But I believe the Lord is not glorified when we just go into hiding. When the darkness comes to our front door, we will respond with the gospel of Jesus Christ. So happy Eve of All Saints Day. And if you really want to go all in, read Fox's Books of Martyrs, or The Pilgrim Church by E.H. Broadbent, or read the little book called The Trail of Blood by J.M. Carroll.